was a group of friends that I host every Thursday morning with my friend Ed. It's a group of creative business owners that get together. I created that group with Ed because I found that in my local community, the level of discourse about creative work tended to err on the side of survival and not thriving, and of apologizing for your creativity and apologizing for your prices and apologizing for all those things. And I wanted a group where we were lifting each other up, kind of building towards a real sense of owning sustainable creative businesses that not only sustain us financially, but also sustain us creatively. So we've got my studio mate, John. He makes films. He's in the group. We've got Ed, my co-leader, who makes leather goods. I recently built out a new visual identity for him. His company is called Dark Fired Bags and Carry. And then our friend Robert Berganza, who makes the most insane luxury furniture pieces you've ever seen. They're art pieces that happen to be functional furniture. And he's working on basically trying to build how he packages this idea of a collection. He doesn't do custom furniture, he does these specific pieces on commission. And so we're working on what that looks like. And we've got our friends David and Nicole, who do, she's a designer, and he works with a group called Rifo that you can look up. And then we've got Chuck, who's this, what's the word? Poly something or other. Chuck's a programmer who's doing a lot of different things and looking at what his skill set brings to different conversations. And it's been incredible to have someone who does not rely on creative output for a living be a part of this group and offer a really great perspective. So anyway, that group met today. We were short a few people. A couple different things popped up, and so it was just 4 or 5 of us today. But that group meets every Thursday. I encourage you, if you are missing a sense of community in your own work, just make it happen. My studio is open if you're in the area, every Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. My studio is open to creative business owners looking to elevate the way they do creative work to make a living. So earlier this week, I am DMing with a friend who was flying into Florida from Minnesota, I think, for a networking event, for a wedding industry event. And he asked me if I was attending. And honestly, I hadn't even heard of the organization that was hosting the event. It was a ticketed gala for a wedding industry group, and the kind of event I probably would have loved to attend. I had no idea it was happening. And I felt a little, there were some emotions associated with kind of feeling left out. But the reality is I haven't made an effort to network locally in a long time. I don't have a lot of business in Florida at all. Well, at least not in this part of Florida. So anyway, we were talking about this organization and this event, which was last night. And lo and behold, yesterday afternoon, Facebook asked me if I was attending this event. I was actually invited to this event and had no clue. I'll give you 10 guesses why. It was a freaking Facebook invite. I get like 50 of those a day. Oh, I got it. Hold on. Let's see how that does. Okay, I think that works a little. Does that work a little better? I'm trying to figure out how to make light more interesting in these things. So apparently at some point, I got a Facebook invite for this event. One of probably 50 I received that day for everything from some community event to a dog walking event that, I don't even own a dog, to a friend's kid's birthday party. Facebook invites are just the lowest friction way of inviting someone to something. And so we indiscriminately hit everyone. And because we do that, most of us have been trained to ignore Facebook invites. I mean, most of us have been trained to ignore most of Facebook anyway. But Facebook invites are just such a low effort way to invite someone to your thing. Now, granted, I'm probably on the B list for this event. There may have been some sort of actual invitation. But in 2019, when we are so inundated with digital messages, something pleasant showing up in the mailbox is just a tiny little way of surprising and delighting someone, of getting their attention. It doesn't have to be huge. Look, it doesn't take a lot to shatter someone's expectations. NPR talks about driveway moments. I create mailbox moments. It doesn't necessarily always take all the stuff that I do in order to do that. This is a 5x7 invitation with an envelope that, well, I made a custom thick envelope, but this paper as an envelope, it's readily available and not much more than any other kind of decent invitation envelope. And you can create something like this, or if you haven't heard me say it, I'm in the business of creating holy shit stationery. The kind of invitations, the kind of business cards, the stationery that gets people to stop in their tracks, to have a mailbox moment. One of the ways that I do that, I love doing it, is with scale. This is a 5x7, this is 8x10. And just by this showing up in your mailbox, you are going to have a mailbox moment. It's something that's going to surprise you and delight you. A lot of times these even come in as parcels, not envelopes. And so they wind up in a place where a package would end up, and they wind up feeling special. And so the scale works really great, but even greater than that for me is this idea that I can shock and awe someone and steal their attention, or I can earn their attention by making something feel like it's about them. So with invitations, I always try to encourage my clients to make the piece feel as much about their guests as it does about them. Like this piece you just saw me do with Party Slate. We put on here, inspired events, inspire people. Now, granted, that is Party Slate's tagline, but that's because they already get the point. The whole point of Party Slate for their people is about inspiring people. And so they created that tagline, and it just happened to be the most perfect thing to feel like a gift for their guests. So when you create a piece that makes your guests feel known and understood, and not only that, this format is frameable. It's 8x10. It could actually just be popped right into a frame and displayed this way. It feels like a gift, like a piece of art, like an inspirational poster. It feels like something that we are past the point of buying people's attention. It used to be that you could pay to interrupt television or radio or newspaper and stop people from consuming the content they wanted and interrupt them with your message. But seriously, okay, I'm referencing Facebook, and it makes, I don't use Facebook much at all anymore, but how many times have you started a video on Facebook and got that middle of the video ad and just skipped the rest? It's just so easy to skip that part of it now that we can't effectively buy people's attention. But what we can do is make them feel known, make them feel understood, and interrupt them with surprise and delight, with shock and awe, with something that gets them excited. And then we've earned the right to be heard. So if you're throwing a party and you want people to show up, don't rely on Facebook invitations to get them there. Don't even rely on, some basic thing. Find a way, at whatever budget you're working, to surprise and delight, to shock and to awe, and to make it feel like that thing is about them and not about you. Because let's face it, it's not about you. You feel like it's about you, but every single person that you're inviting has their own deep, complex narrative about their life, and you are not at the center of it. You can be a part of it if you find a way to make them feel heard. So that's something really important to me that I'm trying to find a better way to say, and I think that I'm getting closer. What do you think? Does that resonate with you? And if so, how have you done that or see yourself doing that in your own events? I'd love to hear. Comment below. It is a very weird time right now, a strange week, because, well, you may remember 2 years ago, you saw my Hurricane Irma experience here in Lakeland, Florida. We are watching Dorian very possibly come give us more of the same. Hopefully, right now it's a lot smaller. Maybe just as powerful, but will come through a little more quickly, hopefully, because man, it was a very, very long night when Irma came through. So anyway, today is Thursday. The hurricane is supposed to come through Memorial Day and Tuesday. I think that's kind of really all weekend. And so we're not quite sure. It's all a little bit crazy. So if you think about it, think a thought, pray a prayer for us. We don't know what it's going to look like. And hurricanes are never fun. This is my first hurricane since I moved in here, so I'm anxious to see how the studio holds up. Anyway, I will see you later. If you like this, like, subscribe, do all that jazz.